Hello everyone, welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. As reported by Al Jazeera, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has issued a strong warning to his U.S. counterpart, Donald Trump, demanding that the United States refrain from interfering in Brazil's upcoming presidential election in October. The remarks were made during a G7 summit in France, following accusations that Trump has sought to influence Latin American politics in favor of far-right candidates. Lula is currently facing a tight re-election campaign against Senator Flávio Bolsonaro, the eldest son of former far-right President Jair Bolsonaro and a close ally of Trump. While Lula acknowledged Trump's right to maintain friendly relations with the Bolsonaro family, he established a firm red line against external election meddling, emphasizing that Brazil's elections are strictly a domestic affair. The warning comes amid rising bilateral tensions after the U.S. proposed tariffs on Brazilian goods and Trump criticized Brazil's political climate. In response, Lula dismissed Trump's criticisms of Brazil's electronic voting system, offering to show him how the machines operate, and concluded that Trump does not truly know Brazil if he only views it through the lens of the Bolsonaro family. According to UPI, Hezbollah leader Sheikh Naim Qassem announced in a televised address that Lebanon's negotiations with Israel must be limited to mutual security as the absolute ceiling. Qassem firmly rejected any disarmament proposals, calling them an Israeli formula designed to destroy the country, and urged Lebanese authorities to break away from direct U.S.-mediated negotiations, which he claimed only result in concessions. Instead, Hezbollah is pushing to shift the focus toward U.S.-Iran negotiations, aiming to include Lebanon in a broader ceasefire agreement slated for signature in Geneva. Highlighting the changing regional balance of power, Qassem declared that U.S. and Israeli efforts to overthrow the Iranian regime had failed. He insisted that negotiations should center on ending Israeli aggression, achieving a complete withdrawal from Lebanese territory, releasing war prisoners, and allowing displaced residents to return. Additionally, he clarified that the Lebanese army would deploy exclusively south of the Litani River under any potential agreement, while rejecting the concept of safe areas or pilot zones for gradual Israeli withdrawal. According to a report by City News Everywhere, U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed skepticism over the future of the Canada-US-Mexico agreement, commonly known in Canada as CUSMA. Speaking to reporters at the G7 summit in France, Trump claimed he would rather not have the Continental Trade Pact at all, offering conflicting remarks about whether he might sign a renewal or let the agreement expire immediately. The trade deal is currently up for a mandatory joint review. However, indications from the Trump administration suggest that the United States is poised to blow past the crucial July 1 deadline. Missing this target would trigger an annual rolling review process lasting up to a decade, eventually leading to the deal's termination if no agreement is reached. In contrast to Trump's comments, Canada and Mexico have both called for a stable 16-year extension to ensure economic predictability. This is not the first time Trump has threatened the trade agreement, having previously dismissed CUSMA as irrelevant. According to a report by NPR, a special election in a working-class area of England could eventually play a critical role in determining the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The election is taking place in the region that famously served as the setting for George Orwell's 1937 book, The Road to Wigan Pier. Manchester's prominent centre-left mayor is currently vying for a seat in Parliament, a move widely seen as establishing a strategic path toward the nation's top political job. If successful, this bid could reshape the leadership dynamics within the country's center-left opposition and position the mayor as a prime contender for future leadership of the country. According to a report by Mainichi Shimbun, the Chinese government released a joint statement with Myanmar's pro-military regime on June 17, 2026. In the statement, China expressed strong support for Myanmar's full, equal, and constructive participation in international frameworks, including the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, and the United Nations. Myanmar's military-led government, which is seeking to return to the international stage, is expected to use Beijing's backing to restore its political legitimacy. Following the February 2021 coup, Myanmar held a general election between December 2025 and January 2026 that excluded major democratic parties, resulting in a landslide victory for the military-backed party. Minang Hainlang, the military leader, was subsequently elected president. However, ASEAN remains divided over recognizing the election results, and the UN does not recognize the regime's legitimacy. The joint statement also targeted countries like the United States and Japan, opposing unilateralism and the revival of militarism. Furthermore, both nations agreed to strengthen security cooperation for China's Belt and Road Initiative, with Myanmar promising to protect Chinese projects. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Minang Hainlang in Beijing, explicitly endorsing the new regime. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.